actually people like you within the Labour Party, especially on the left wing of government, who have actually caused these cover-ups, caused the silencing, created taboo out of subjects that really needed to be disinfected in the clear light of day.
Lucy Powell, the leader of the House, a member of Slippery Starmer's cabinet, really let the cat out the bag over the weekend in the most despicable way. I mean, this woman is grim on so many levels. Do you remember this? She was the one who proudly wore the T-shirt, never kissed a Tory. And over the weekend, in a head-to-head with Tim Montgomery, a Reform UK supporter who was actually totally kind to her and being anything but difficult during this Any Questions appearance, she revealed the truth of how the Labour Party view the Pakistani Muslim rape gang scandal. Despite this being, I believe, the worst cover-up in modern British history, despite this actually being one of the worst scandals in British history, the whole-scale rape and abuse of thousands and thousands of mainly white working-class girls covered up by the police, covered up by the establishment, covered up by our politicians. Despite that, Lucy Powell believes this issue is simply a dog whistle for racism. It's sick, and yet Slippery Starmer has stood by her. Now, in case you missed it over the weekend, this was the exchange that took place on Radio 4.
I don't know whether you saw the documentary on Channel 4 about rape gangs over
No,
this
we want to blow that little trumpet now, do we? Yeah, okay.
There was a real issue.
Let's get that dog whistle out, shall we?
Okay, Lucy. Yeah. The councils, there were so many people who were so afraid for good. Can I just finish the point just for 1 minute?
Finish that point, Tim, and then I'll bring in Helen.
Look, there were so many people in local government, in the authorities, who, for good reasons, were worried about upsetting community tensions, that those girls went undefended. Now, there were good reasons for it, but no one has still been brought to justice for that. So you tell me, Lucy, that this isn't a culture in local government. It's just not true.
Dear.
Helen Morgan?
I'm sorry, you're sick in the head. Lucy Powell, you are sick in the head. I really mean that. Because for that to be your response, the whole scale, sick in the head. Anyway, it's a political issue for her. Now, that's all it is. She meant what she said. She meant every word of what she said. But to keep her job and Starmer's administration, she issues a hostage video apology on X, which has one of the most shocking ratios of any post on X I've ever seen, where she wrote, "In the heat of discussion on Any Questions, I would like to clarify that I regard issues of child exploitation and grooming with the utmost seriousness. I'm sorry if this was unclear. I was challenging the political point scoring around it, not the issue itself. As a constituency MP, I've dealt with horrendous cases. This government is acting to get the truth and deliver justice." Well, I'm sorry, Alex Phillips. As well as being morally reprehensible, she's also a liar, because that was not what she was saying. Was it?
No, she was the one actually using it for political point scoring in that. Tim was raising a very valid point and she immediately wanted to dismiss his concerns, his very valid concerns, his concerns that have been borne out, in fact, as some sort of dog whistle racism. It's utterly abhorrent. But the thing is, what you've got to understand, Dan, is people like Lucy Powell have had the world going in their direction and working their way, this censorious world where issues are silenced and people's lives are sacrificed at the altar of diversity and inclusion and equity. She's had it her way for so long that they think they can just getting away with it. They think they can carry on playing the same tune and everyone's going to be forced to dance to it, as we have been for decades now. But the world has woken up. The world has said enough of this. The scales have fallen away from our eyes. We can see what's gone on. We can see what has contributed to what has gone on. And it's actually people like you within the Labour Party, especially on the left wing of government, who have actually caused these cover-ups, caused the silencing, created taboo out of subjects that really needed to be disinfected in the clear light of day. And we're still not having those discussions. You know, when I watched that Channel 4 documentary, as brave and as necessary as it was, and round of applause for pointing out that the vast majority of grooming cases or rape gang cases cases were being perpetrated by Pakistani Muslims, with the caveat, of course, that this isn't just a Pakistani thing, we didn't actually discuss the underlying cultural issues. There was still no nod to the fact that this isn't about someone being British Pakistani. This is about people belonging to a religion where some adherents, I'm not saying all by any stretch, but some adherents regard women who are not of the faith as easy game, as chattel, as potential slaves. We are still not having that conversation. And unless
100%.
we can the root causes of
100%.
it,
Not
without the Lucy Powell screaming, we're not going to resolve anything.
100%. Now, look, just before you come in, Henry, I want to show you what Tim Montgomery responded, because he was obviously the person who sparked that discussion. And he posted on X, "I'm sorry, Lucy, but this is a Trumpian distortion of what happened last night. I say Trumpian because listeners can hear for themselves what I began to say and how you crassly interrupted. I was explaining why oversensitivity to community racial cohesion, albeit well motivated, relative to other social goals like community or especially child protection, was not a peripheral issue, which you claimed, but has been distorting local government and other public services for far too long. You were the one who rushed to play the race card against me. You seem to have learned absolutely nothing from the politically correct cancel culture that silenced the people who tried to whistleblow about grooming." And then he elaborated on Sly News yesterday. Watch.
It's a mistake that Labour keep making, the left keep making. You've actually personally been quite good at jabbing the left on this and have an authority on it. But there's been a tendency, it's gone on for too long now, to close all sorts of important debates down by throwing that racist charge at people. And I think people have had enough of it. I think they feel that it is a stifling of debate. And in the context of grooming gangs, an issue of such consequence, I think it was clearly ill-judged by Lucy Powell. But I think she was keen to have a very strong go at reform, and I was the representative of reform that night. But unfortunately, the words she chose have wider resonance. And I think the only trouble if she really is to get in trouble, it would be if survivors come out in larger numbers and object to what she said.
But first, people like Andrew Huberman, Rhonda Patrick, and even Joe Rogan have talked about a compound called epicatechin found in dark chocolate and green tea. Now, this is shown to improve blood flow, delivering more oxygen to muscles and the brain. Studies show that it reduces stress and fatigue while improving mood and enhancing muscle growth, strength, and recovery. One study found it boosted muscle growth factors by nearly 50% in just 1 week. But don't reach for the chocolate bars, okay? Not the chocolate bars, because processing actually destroys these compounds and you'd need an impossible amount to get results. So that's why Verso created Morning Bean, a rich, chocolatey morning brew packed with epicatechin, cocoa polyphenols, antioxidants, and electrolytes to fuel energy, performance, focus, and longevity. Unlike coffee or other coffee alternatives, it supports muscle recovery, cardiovascular health, and cognitive function, all without caffeine crashes. Cocoa powders, drinks, and products are commonly contaminated with high levels of toxic heavy metals, but Verso conducts third-party testing on every batch to ensure they have pure, high-quality cocoa, prioritizing safety and high flavanol content. Now, I started taking Morning Bean to replace my morning energy drink. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But actually, it's perfect to replace your coffee or even a second cup in the morning. And as a result, I feel more focused and energized. I also like how I get my daily dose of superfoods from it. So if you're looking to improve your health with something that's actually backed by research, click on the link in the description box below, or you can head on over to morning.ver.so/outspoken. Let me just repeat the address, the word morning.ver.so/outspoken. Use the code outspoken to get 15% off your first order. But now, back to the show. And there have been. Look at this, Henry, from Sammy Woodhouse, the amazing Sammy Woodhouse, who is a victim, has done so much work on the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. She simply said, get her sacked. So there is outrage from survivors, and still Labour don't give a damn. Henry, still they don't care. She's in her job, no issues.
They don't care. They are blind to the fact that the reason they got an absolute drubbing from reform in these local elections is because of exactly this attitude. They have failed to listen to the British public over and over again, and this is possibly the most serious thing. Taxes, national insurance hikes and so on, that's money. This is people's lives directly that are being affected by this, and still Labour will not listen. And I think the thing is that, yes, Alex was right on the money there. They've had it their way for so long, but it goes deeper than that. I think psychologically, they have their entire political career, their entire political activism and their campaigning and so on has all been sort of based on this division that they have fostered. And Tim is right that they have closed down the opposition by giving it labels such as racist and so on. And I think they have had their own way for so long that they simply psychologically can't go to another space. They can't even challenge their own thoughts. And I think that is highly dangerous. And my prediction is that that they will not be able to take themselves out of that rut and look at the world from a different perspective. And we think that the Conservative Party maybe was on the way out. And Nigel said repeatedly that he wanted to annihilate and destroy the Tory party. A lot of people would like to see that happen, I know. But I think it's going to be Labour that actually are decimated by this. We could see both political parties changing, those two parties, Labour and Conservatives, changing radically. Because if they don't, they're going to disappear and they are going to incur the hatred, not just the disdain and the wish to get rid of, but the absolute hatred of the British people, if they haven't already got it, because of this sort of behaviour.
Very true. Well, I mean, as Alison Pearson pointed out, Alex Phillips, a tale of two Lucys. Lucy Connolly, mum and beloved childminder, jailed for 31 months for a nasty mistake which she swiftly deleted. Lucy Powell, Labour MP, made a nasty mistake, downplaying raped white girls. No consequences. Two-tier care. You agree?
Yeah, it's 100% that. And this is shifting now. But, Alison Pearson, goddess that she is, has been really championing the story of Lucy Connolly, which is very easy to think that was news that, happened before 2025 and a woman's in jail and let's just forget about it. But this is a woman who had lost a child, was a mother herself, has a very sick husband who, in anger and despair about the disgusting, despicable, unimaginable, brutal murder of three little girls, wrote something on Facebook for all of about 2 hours before then she went, oh gosh, maybe I sort of said something out of turn and deleted it, and is now festering in prison, not even allowed visitation rights. It is an absolute abrogation. It is a stain on our judicial system that has taken place. There should be people marching in the streets about this. There should be people protesting and campaigning about this. And yet people on the left can say all sorts of things. They can throw about accusations. They can actually, this is VE Day, Dan. This is the day that we remember the Second World War. And I thought your testimony about your grandparents was so touching and so moving.
Thank you.
And made everything so palpable and so real on this day. And when people on the left chuck about terms like Nazi and fascist with zero consequence to try and shut down debates when they are the ones who are being censorious, it breaks my heart. This goes to the very root of what has gone wrong so badly in Western culture, particularly in Britain. And actually, when Alison Pearson puts those things side by side, calls it a tale of two Lucys, and we realise that this is about people using language, writing something, perhaps regretting it afterwards because of the misinterpretation, because of the consequences of what people took from what they said, and one is in prison for 32 months, and one just, might have a pretty bad day under the media spotlight, and yet the one who has just the pretty bad day under the media spotlight is the one who carries responsibility because she's in the party of government. It's shocking and it breaks my heart.
It does. I mean, it breaks my heart too, without any doubt. I do wonder, though, if what you're saying, Alex Phillips, though, does prove that this is the raw politics that will drive Reform UK into number 10 Downing Street. Because when you think about it, this is a pox on both their houses when it comes to the rape gang scandal. And we know Labour are not going to do a thing about it in power because of the Islam issue. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.